Well, look who it is. So you decided how you want to claim that territory? Ha! Stick with the classics. Which gang should I have join you once you've staked your claim? Well, settlers will probably rally some bodies if you try and wipe them out, but it's a guaranteed way to claim a spot. If you try to scare them off their land, there's a chance they might just tell you to take a hike. At that point, you might be able to buy them off. But it could end up getting expensive if you don't work them over a bit first. Beyond just that, there are some places out there overrun with trouble. Ghouls, children of Adam and the like. Those places aren't going to be interested in having a chat. So you're going to have more options if you go in guns blazing. Works for me. Once you've planted your flag in the place, I'll send a crew in to set up shop. Of course, I'll be here. Yeah? Better bring a tarp. Uh-huh. That just leaves the target. Now, the target. And there are two ways to claim new territory. You can head in yourself and convince the locals to leave. Or I can get a crew together and you all can put them in the dirt. How you do it is up to you. So, first big decision. You want to talk them off their land? Or you want to wipe them out? Got it. I'm sure they'll appreciate you thinking of them. I'll let them know. Sure. I'll get a steak on a string or something. You got it. Let me... So, where do you want to hit? Then I guess we'll just have to let them know who they're dealing with. Shoot. Got it. Something else I could do for you? Sure thing, boss. And which crew should I have join you once you've staked your claim? So which gang do you want keeping folks in line when you're done? I'm in no hurry. You did good. Now get going. The adults are gonna discuss this. Suits me fine. Well, you want to make sure they've got all the necessities, defenses, beds, water, and food. Ideally coming in from a settlement you've convinced to hand over supplies, but you can always drop some direct in their workshop if need be. Beyond that, you could build them some entertainment, a booze still, pick-me-up station, an amplifier if you've got a Nuka World transmitter set up. And if you're wondering what they're lacking, best thing to do is check your Pip-Boy. It's got a page with all the information you could need on what your outpost might want. I'm also willing to share whatever I hear. And lastly, don't make them farm. Lose a lot of goodwill from your gangs by making them pick fruit. And which gang you want to join you on the job? You got it, boss. I'll let them know. I'll send word along. Or howl or something. Well, the bigger and more fortified your target is, the more work you're gonna have to do to get them to crack. But using tools from the operators, building a Nuka World transmitter within range of the settlement you're trying to target, they'll make it easier. Plus, the more outposts you've got nearby your target, the more interested they'll be in what you've got to say. Sure thing, boss. You gonna talk to them yourself? Or should I get a crew to help you put them in the dirt? Fine by me. Got it. Boss, what can I do for you? All right, you got it. Just need the details. What job you looking to run? Well, with jobs where you're trying to convince folks, not every settlement's gonna have someone who wants to chat. So you'll have more options using force. Also, can't say no to firepower. You try chatting with the settlement, they might just tell you to take a hike. You gotta give me something, boss. Need you to give me something, boss. You alright, boss? You gonna give me something? That one, huh? Let me see. Let me take a look. Yeah, I remember that joint. Where was it? Thought I'd seen something about them the other day. Wrote that down somewhere. Don't think that one's gonna work, boss. Seems that one's out of play for the moment. No dice, boss. Want to pick some other target? Or another job? Was there anything else? So, was there something else? You had any other questions? Sure thing. So, there anything I can do? Figure this would happen sooner or later. Heard some rumbles this one didn't get you either. Figure I shouldn't be surprised. Nisha and her crew went and stormed Nuka World's power plant. And I was thinking, with the outpost coming as far as it has, might be time I set up shop there. Save you a trip anytime you want to run a job. You just let me know if that's something that'd interest you. Be good to make some trouble in the Commonwealth again. Seems they didn't like how you were doling out territory. God damn it. The disciples have turned on us. The operators have turned on us. The pack have turned on us. Bad news, boss. The other bosses, well, they're waiting on you before they move in. You better get up there and put an end to those turncoats before they do something stupid. Well, something else stupid. You want to name a different target? Or a different job, maybe? So, standard runoff job. You can scare the hell out of them, or try to buy them off. Whatever you need to do to get them off their land. I'm listening. So getting us set up in the Commonwealth's gonna require 3 things. Territory, provisions, and loyalty. First things first, territory. We're gonna need to claim a settlement for our gang to work from. An outpost. Up to you, boss. I'm not going anywhere. No fun in that. But look, you're the overboss. You decide you want to sweet-talk the poor sods we're gonna be dealing with instead of filling them full of lead. That's up to you. But I can't change the fact that you're gonna have to run some people out of their homes so we can give them to the gangs. No one said being boss was gonna be easy. Now, you just say if this is something you're ready to move on. Music to my ears. And I'd like to keep it that way. Here, earn this. Anything else you find out, if there's anything left. How good is this source of yours? Now, once you and the crew have cleaned the place out, those lucky girls and boys will move in and start working the place. So, what's the target? So, where you want to do this? But ultimately, it's up to you, boss. Good luck. Liking what you've done with the place, boss. Gang certainly seem pleased with their new little kingdoms. Haven't seen people this revved up since last time someone spiked the water fountains. So you ready to get this show on the road, boss? Hey, boss. Looking to take on another job? You just let me know how you want to approach it. You can also build a Nuka World radio transmitter at an outpost that doesn't have one. Remind those settlers their days on that land's numbered. Let's just get the first one squared away for now. Expansion can come later. So, what can I do for you? Happy hunting, boss. Scare them good, boss. Now, forcing a place to turn over provisions ain't complicated. Beat the locals so bad they don't want to fight anymore. Put any backup they might have called in the dirt. Which brings us to the plan. Beat the fight out of the local citizenry. Kill anyone dumb enough to try to defend them. And it's worth keeping in mind, the more populated or fortified a place is, the more prep you're going to want to do before trying to run them off. Don't have too much fun. Watch yourself out there. Expect we'll have a new meal ticket in no time. And you could always throw up a Nuka World transmitter at an outpost that hasn't got one. Tools from the operators could also make your life easier. And it's worth remembering. The more populated or heavily defended a place is, the more prep work you're gonna have to do to get them to bend. Plenty of ways for you to skin this cat. Have fun. Just bring us back something nice. But you got options. Good luck. Give those settlers hell. Knock 'em dead, boss. Show those settlers who's in charge. Now, where were we on that job? Back to what we were discussing. Any toys the operators gave you ought to make things easier. I'll send a crew ahead to the settlement. They'll help you clear the place out. Take down any backup these folks manage to convince to throw in with them. I'll make sure you've got some backup waiting for you. Help you deal with anyone this place manages to convince to throw in with them. Be a couple of our guys waiting for you when you arrive. Help you clean the place out. Crew will be waiting for you when you get there. Help you deal with whatever you may run into. I'll have some of our people meet you there to assist. I'll make sure you've got some backup waiting to lend a hand when you get there. Bunch of ways you can convince these folks to hand over supplies. You can try talking them into it, or you could rough them up some. I'll send a couple gangers to meet you there. Make sure they know not to kill the settlers. I'll make sure there's a crew waiting when you get there, and that they know they're only allowed to kill the hired help. So you know how this job works. Head to the target, put down anything that moves. Tear 'em apart. Last mistake these raiders ever get to make. Hurt them, boss. Real bad. Huh. So you're the new overboss. I expect you and I are gonna have a lot to discuss in the future. I'm sure Gage will send you my way soon enough. The slog might be a good choice to hit, though I'd have to confirm that's still the case. Joint called Nordhagen Beach, I think, is close enough to work. Could be a good target, though I'd need to check my notes, of course. Oberlin Station might be a good bet, if there's nothing holding us back from hitting it. Look who it is. Got something for me? Watch yourself. You of all people know what their kind's capable of. Coulter sure left you a mess, didn't he? Don't mind me, boss. Just keeping an eye on things. Hell of a balancing act, being in charge. I don't envy you. Place called 10 Pines Bluff might be a good choice within striking range, though I'd have to check my notes. Well, if you aren't yet, you sure as hell should be. More outposts you claim, the easier it's gonna be to intimidate settlements near them. If things go poorly, well, you can always buy them off. And the more scared you make them, the cheaper it's gonna be. Careful with anything you get from the operators. Some disciple tried to brew up one of their serums once. They cleaned her up with a broom. Let those settlers know it's time they packed their bags. Now, normally the next step would be provisions, convincing or beating a settlement into sending us shipments of supplies to keep our folks fed and happy. Unfortunately, doesn't look like our outpost has any targets in range at the moment. Also means there won't be any caps coming in from frightened settlers. Unfortunately, I got some bad news. Outpost doesn't have any settlements within range for us to start feeding off of. Happens, though the gang's not going to be pleased. Just means no shipments of supplies coming in for the time being. Also means those poor settlers get to hang on to their caps. But it seems we have a more pressing issue on our hands. I wouldn't sweat it. Happens to the finest cutthroats. You decide how you want to convince these folks to pay up. Don't underestimate the power of beating the stuffing out of someone before you shake them down. A meal's always tastier when you ain't the one that had to grow it. Should consider building a Nuka World transmitter if you can. Announce to those poor bastards your imminent arrival. Cripple the settlers. Ice anyone else. Settlers will most likely call in some backup. Stay sharp. Lot of gangs have trouble with the whole don't kill the hand that feeds you thing. Rather just loot and pillage until they starve. Just don't let them kill you, boss. Wouldn't look good for the rest of us. Taking along some extra gear might be good if you want to arm up the crew. Where am I going? I'll give them a heads up. Suppose I better get a move on then. See you there, boss. Need a little direction here, boss. Unless there was something else you wanted. That one's not going to work. No targets. Might be you'll have to make some adjustments before we can do it. But is there something else, maybe? Sorry, boss. Aren't any targets available for that one at the moment. You might need to run some legwork before we can do it. Want to try another one? Actually, doesn't look like there are any targets available for that job at the moment. Might need to do some prep work before we can run it again. Something else, maybe? Back again. No luck, huh? Suppose convincing a settlement to feed our outpost is going to have to wait. We've got more pressing issues. That's not gonna fly, boss. What with them turning on you. Want to pick another? Boss. Think you're gonna need to pick someone who didn't turn on you. How about another gang? You and the disciples ain't exactly on speaking terms. You want to pick someone else? With that kind of clout, we'll be able to start setting up dealers at our outposts. Get to selling stuff like real damn towns. We keep expanding from there, we'll even be able to set up spots where the locals can come drop off tribute. Place is looking good, boss. Everything a gang of lowlifes could ask for, boss. Seems congrats are due on the outpost. Sounds like it's everything a group of murderous sociopaths could ask for. If you want to run more jobs once your current one's wrapped up, you just come find me. You just let me know whenever you want to get rolling on those jobs. Actually, seems there aren't any more settlements to conquer. You ought to be proud. Made yourself one hell of a gang. There's something else I can do? Hey there, boss. You looking for me to set up a couple jobs so we can start claiming those 2 outposts? Or did you need something else? Hey, boss. Just one more outpost to claim. You want me to set up that job? You just say. So, what do you need? Now, you're not going to be able to take a direct route to the place. Fast way to get yourself killed. So you'll have to meet our folks outside town. Farm called Abernathy's not too far from our new outpost. Might be a good place to hit if we can. Back again. Was worried we might have scared you off. But who can keep away from a place like this? Think we should put claiming those new outposts to bed first. So if there's something else I can take care of, you just say so. Ought to take care of those new outposts first, boss. Then we can talk supplies. Now if there's something I can set up for you, you just let me know. Probably for the best anyway. We got some more pressing matters to attend to. Sure, boss. Works for me. And the more a settlement produces for itself, the more of each we can get them to cough up. I'll make sure your cut of any caps the outpost pulls in are waiting in your quarters. The crew that's meeting you there is only going to have standard gear, though. If you've got some weaponry you don't have a strong attachment to, might be worth taking it with you to arm them up. Your crew will be waiting when you get there. I'll remind them not to kill the goods. Now, if you're looking for something to give you an extra edge, might be worth checking in with some of the gang bosses. Probably got some trick or two up their sleeves. So, these sorts of jobs are pretty straightforward. Move in, kill everything in sight. And it'd be worth checking with some of the bosses. May have some tools you can put to use. Wasn't my first idea. No. Look, boss, Raiders of the Commonwealth, all those mutts understand is force. And I'm thinking it's time you and them came to just such an understanding. Hey, boss, need something? So, boss, what's the plan? Our outposts caught the attention of some of our new neighbors in the Commonwealth. An outside crew of raiders think we're honing in on their territory. Sounds like they're planning to tear the place up, and our people with it. Suppose this provides us a good opportunity to make an example. You thinking what I'm thinking? Because what you've made is a foothold. To solidify our place, our outfit's gonna need some real numbers. 2 more outposts carved from the Commonwealth ought to do the trick. Get all that together, and, well, we'll have a real base of power on our hands. But you should probably get going. You wouldn't want to keep our new friends waiting. Wouldn't be neighborly. So that's a no, then. Look, boss, your clout may get you what you want around here, but that doesn't earn you a thing with raiders in the Commonwealth. All those mutts understand is force, and I think it's time you and them came to just such an understanding. Bingo. Only language raiders in the Commonwealth understand. Force. But I'm getting ahead of myself. For now, you'll want to start by claiming another 2 outposts. Place is looking good, boss. Everything a gang of lowlifes could ask for. Boss, seems congrats are due on the outpost. Sounds like it's everything a group of murderous sociopaths could ask for. Not a whole lot. Our scout said the boss calls himself Sinner. Claims to have a decent-sized crew ready to take what we stole fair and square. Suppose he just needs to learn who his betters are. So, are you and I of the same mind on how that ought to get done? Now, like before, the method's up to you. You can try talking to them yourself, convince them to hand over the goods, or you and a crew can introduce some bullets to some kneecaps. Getting word that your people could use more food. Unfortunately, aren't any good targets to hit up for supplies, but you can always drop foods you harvest yourself in their workshop. Ought to hold them over for a while. That model of Pip-Boy should actually have a specific page to let you see which outpost is in need. Should give it a check. Check your Pip-Boy if you need specifics. Pip-Boy should be able to tell you which one. Your Pip-Boy should have more specifics. Got it. Understood, boss. Just means there's a better chance we could run low on grub, which could end up leading to some pissed-off outposts. Probably only want to target those spots if you absolutely have to. So, that's still the spot? Boss? That's one of the places providing us with supplies. You sure you want to target them? Pretty sure that spot has been sending supplies to our outposts. You sure that's the one? That one. So, that one's been sending us supplies. You sure that's the one you want to hit? You sure about that spot, boss? Think they've been supplying our outposts. Works for me. So I suppose your recent success brings us to the next step. Loyalty. Without loyalty, everything that's yours ain't. And to keep a crew loyal, you need to keep them happy. Now, keeping raiders happy isn't real hard. Just have to make sure they've got their basic necessities, just like any other settlement, that they've got some things to keep them entertained, and that their food's taken care of, which, with raiders, well, isn't like dealing with other settlements. Now, if you want me to go into detail on any of that, you just say. That's what I've been hearing. Nothing like that. I'm still just getting used to having an overboss with some stones around here. Now, this time around, seems the outpost doesn't need much setting up. Means we can start looking onward. So, managing your outpost's food can get a little tricky. No one ever joined a crew to dig in the dirt, so you'll want to make sure you've convinced enough settlements to supply your gang. People at the outpost can farm in a pinch, but they sure as hell won't be happy about it. Now, if you're ever wondering if your outpost has enough food, you should take a look in your Pip-Boy. It ought to have a page that'll show you everything your outpost currently needs, food included. If they're low on grub, it's probably time to get a new settlement supplying you. Or you could always drop some food direct in their workshop if it comes to it. Now, was there something else? Sure. So, managing your outpost's food can get a little tricky. No one ever joined a crew to dig in the dirt, so normally you'd have convinced a nearby settlement to supply your outpost with food. But that wasn't exactly on the table this time around. Now, people at your outpost can farm in a pinch, but it'll definitely put a dent in their happiness. What you'll probably need to do is collect some food yourself, razor grain, potatoes, moot fruit, whatever, and deposit it in your outpost's workshop. And if you're ever wondering if your outpost has enough food, take a look in your Pip-Boy. Should have a page that'll show you everything your outpost currently needs, food included. Now, was there something else? Sure. If you've ever got more questions, you come find me. Or you can always consult that Pip-Boy on your arm. No better tool to tell you what your outpost may be hurting for. Day-to-day needs, they're pretty straightforward. Just need to make sure you've set up solid defenses. Plenty of beds under cover, and enough clean water to go around. Not much more to it than that. Was there anything else? Well, it's a damn handy way to keep folks distracted if you're lacking in certain basics. Constructing pick-me-up stations or getting one of your crew working on a booze still will certainly help lift your outpost's spirits. And if the place has got a Nuka World transmitter powered up, you can construct amplifiers to help as well. Anything else I can answer for you? Well, your secret's safe with me, regardless. Well, right to business then. Giving the gang spots to call their own around the park, it bought you some goodwill. But providing them with their own domains, carved from the settlements of the Commonwealth, well, I can't think of a better way to solidify your place around here. Plus, make us all a pretty penny along the way. If that interests you, well, all you've got to do is say the word, and we can let the fun begin. Now, the more outposts we've got within range will also affect how tough it is convincing them, so that's something you'll want to consider going forward. Unfortunately, can't talk people off their land if there's no one around to talk to and the like. Most cases, I'll try to let you know why we can't target a place, but the biggest hindrance is if there's already some activity going on there. Though if that is the case, that Pip-Boy of yours might be able to give you some info on whatever might be blocking us hitting that spot. Now, you ready to pick that first settlement? So, you ready to pick the spot for Nuka World's first new homestead? You ready to decide where this is going down? Good. Claiming additional outposts within range of the target will also help make convincing them go better. But that's more big picture. Something to consider as you plan out future conquests. Sure. Take your time. There another target you want to hit? Or maybe change up the job? I'll send word along. Sounds like a plan. Huh. Was that? Guess I ought to finish giving you the rundown on that job, huh? Wait. Pretty sure that place is one of yours, boss. That's where you want to hit? Huh. I think that one's your territory, boss. You're sure that's the one you want to hit? Believe that spot's one of yours, boss. Still want to proceed? Oh, that place. Isn't that one of your old stomping grounds? Sure that's the one? Just wanted to make sure. Ruthless. Of course, boss. Of course not, boss. Meant no offense. Just wanted to make sure. Sure, you got it. So, of course, don't work for the gangs. Gage brought me in to work for the overboss. Plan was I'd advise Coulter in his grand scheme to run roughshod over the Commonwealth. And, despite Coulter's change of heart, I've kept my ear to the ground, just in case that day ever came. I'm hoping today might finally be it. And if you're standing here, well, I suppose Gage figured you might be the one to finally get things back on track. How long it'd take him to convince you it was time to move on the Commonwealth? So, now that we got part 1 on the books, we can move on to part 2, provisions. If you want to hang on to this newfound territory, you're going to need to convince a nearby settlement to start handing over shipments of supplies. I'll make sure those shipments get distributed direct to the outpost. Any caps they provide will be waiting in your trunk up in Fizztop. Now for a new outpost, you'll usually want to target a spot with plenty of populated settlements nearby that might be able to feed our people later on. Taffington Boathouse, Croup Manor, Greentop Nursery, the Slog all had a good number of farms within striking distance last I checked. Though I'll need to go through my notes again, make sure they're all still good to target. We're not always going to be able to run every job against every settlement. I'll walk you through all the ins and outs of getting us established on the other side of those mountains. Claiming territory, running jobs, keeping folks loyal. Gage and Coulter also tasked me with keeping on top of the goings-on back there, so I'll provide you with guidance on the places we can hit and the places we can't. Kind of makes me your one-stop shop for causing havoc in the Commonwealth. Because it is. That spot's a ghost town, last I heard. Maybe we can hit it once there's some bodies present, but can't do anything if there's no one there. Don't think there's someone for us to intimidate at that spot. Current job can wait until you've tended to the matters at hand. Storming the power plant. The hell they think they're gonna accomplish. Hanging from a hook's the only place for traitors. Sooner things get taken care of in Nuka World, the better. There's something I can do for you in the interim? Should really get back, boss. Sounds like the gangs need some guidance. But, there's something you need from me? Should probably wrap up making this first batch happy, boss. Then we can start looking to the horizon. Now, there another job you're interested in doing? What was... Let me think. Yeah, that one ain't gonna work, boss. No go with that one, boss. Sure thing. Your call. Okay. You want to go have some words with them, or you gonna let your firearms do the convincing? Now, next up, you'll have to pick who you want to hold your outpost once it's established. You want to give me another target, or did you maybe want to change up the job? Well, some places in the Commonwealth aren't interested in talking to you, so going in guns blazing will usually give you more spots you can hit. Personally, I think it's a hell of a lot more fun, too. Plus, shooting the place up is a guaranteed way to get what you want. Trying to convince a settlement can go awry if you don't do the right prep. You got it. So, which crew you want keeping an eye on the place once you get them to bend the knee? Well, these jobs run pretty similar to those for claiming territory. Using force will give you more places you can target. Plus, settlers can't just blow you off. You try scaring them into paying up without laying some groundwork first, it could end up being a costly endeavor. Now, any thoughts on how you want to do this? And now that we got some territory claimed, planning Nuka World radio transmitters at an outpost nearby the target should help too. Map on your Pip-Boy can show you what outposts are in range. So, to get these settlers to cough up provisions, they need to know that we aren't a crew to be trifled with. You can try convincing them to pay up, or you could rough them up some. Let them know we mean business. Lizzie Wyeth with the operators ought to have some tools you can use to make things easier. And if none of that works, well, I suppose you could always try paying one of them to convince the rest. Well, then let me help you make up your mind, because it's a damn good idea. Rumor going around is that some big bad raider boss strolled into the Commonwealth and talked a group of settlers right off their land. Word going around is there's some new raider boss tearing up the Commonwealth. Improved defenses is the word going around at the moment. Couple more turrets or guard posts ought to do it. Sounds like places to sleep are in pretty high demand. Seen some awful things happen if people can't get their shut-eye. Actually, boss, sounds like you've got all the necessities taken care of. If outposts aren't getting to where you need them to be, you could try building some entertainment, like a pick-me-up station, an amp and transmitter, or a booze still. I'm pretty sure a companion of yours resides there. I don't think they'd appreciate you hitting it. Heard some nasty rumors about that spot. Think you ought to scout it out before we try and target it. Heard they're building some sort of crazy contraption there. Best to avoid that spot until all that blows over. I think another group's already got that place in their sights. We can move in once they're wrapped up. Sooner you put those traitors in the ground, the better. There's something you need from me? Take some real stones to think you can take on all of Nuka World and live. But, is there something I can do for you? The pack have turned on us. Boss, I just got word. You need to get back to Nuka World. Now. Mags, William, and their whole damn crew went and stormed Nuka World's power plant. Mason and his whole damn gang went and stormed Nuka World's power plant. The other bosses are waiting on you before they move in. You need to get back there before these turncoats do something stupid. Well, something else stupid. Alright, how'd you want to do it? Sure thing. What do you want to run? Fine by me. How are you looking to do it? Got it. Done. Can do. Got it. So how'd you want to approach it? Talk them into leaving yourself? Or you and a crew putting some lead in them? And did you want to talk the settlers off their land yourself? Or should I rally some bodies to help you put them on ice? Sounds good. Deal. They'll be waiting for you. The crew that's joining you's just gonna have standard kits though. If you want to arm them up differently, I'd take along some extra gear. Oh, damn. Sorry, boss. No dice. Alright, that one'll work. Yeah, that one will do. Yup, that place'll do. So, to get these folks to scram, you got two main options. Buy them out, or scare them off. Either way, the more afraid they are, the simpler or cheaper getting them gone will be. Which gang you want to join you on the job? Sure thing. How you want to do it? Well, boss. Sounds good. I'll make sure everyone knows this is a maiming job. Noted. Want to give me another target? Or maybe change up the job? Up to you, boss. Yeah, sure. Then all that's left is the target. Only wrinkle is that it's got to be near our crew's new outpost. No settlement's just gonna hand over goods if there's no one close by to follow up on threats. And if you ever want to see for yourself which settlements are within range of our outpost, you can check the map in your Pip-Boy. Now, the target. It's going to have to be a settlement close to our outpost. Will do. So, which gang you want to back you up? Lizzie Wyeth over with the operators should have some toys that'll make running them off easier. Plus, having an outpost nearby gives us another option. Claiming the airwaves. Building a Nuka World radio transmitter at an outpost within range of the target will let them know we're closing in on them. Your Pip-Boy map should show you which outposts are close enough to serve. Only if you want to keep control of it. Targeting a settlement for a job is going to break whatever connections you might have had to the place. Worth taking a moment to consider how much you like having that spot under your thumb. So, that the target? Not too shabby. So, does that mean you're ready to begin? I can see that. Well, regardless of the source, idea's a good one. I've been well taken care of up to this point. I ain't greedy, but people with my kind of talents aren't common. All I'm looking for is a continuation of the lifestyle I've become accustomed to, and the same piece of the Commonwealth pie everyone else around here has been itching to take a bite of. Yeah, getting word they could use some more food coming in. If you want to run a job to convince a new settlement to cough up supplies, let me know. Sounds like they could use some more clean water. A purifier or a couple pumps ought to do the trick. Of course, every outpost you claim for a gang is going to be something the other gangs don't have. And none of them like the thought of their rivals getting a leg up on them. Worth thinking over as you dole out more territory. So, wouldn't be surprised if some Minutemen showed up to lend a hand. Wish I could see their faces when they see who they're going up against. Just gonna leave me in the lurch here, boss? Chime in at any time. Over, boss? Something wrong? You hear? Apparently there's a big new contender among the Commonwealth gangs. Solid work, boss. Now, something I can do? No more disciples. Almost brings a tear to your eye. Made a real statement, boss. Now, there's something I can do for you? Nicely done, boss. No one's gonna step out of line after what you did to the operators. Dimwits. Now, there's something I can do? Figured those pack loonies would go off the deep end sooner or later. At least now folks know what happens to traitors. Now, something I can do? Welcome back, boss. That's good to hear. Bodies. And not the kind the disciples like to leave sitting around. Good to hear. Sure, boss. Whenever you're ready. So, you ready for the final piece of the puzzle? Welcome back, boss. Sure. Now, normally, there's two ways you can claim territory. You can head in yourself and try and talk the settlers off their land, or I can get a crew together and you all can put them in the dirt. Unfortunately, there aren't many settlements interested in talking to you at the moment. So for this first job, wiping them out's gonna be the way to go. Nisha didn't like how you were handing out new territory. Now she and her crew have gone and stormed Nuka World's power plant. Mags and William didn't like how you were handing out new territory. Now them and their whole gang have gone and stormed Nuka World's power plant. Mason didn't like how you were handing out new territory. Now him and his whole gang have gone and stormed Nuka World's power plant. The disciples have turned on us. The operators have turned on us. Never formally introduced myself. Name's Shank. And if you and Nuka World's favorite Cyclops are standing here, well, I suppose he expects you might be the one to finally get things back on track. How long it take him to convince you it was time to move on the Commonwealth? You got it. I'll make it happen. I'll start getting that together for you. Sure. Yeah, sure. All right. Works for me. What type of job did you want to run? Yeah. What kind of job we talking here? Well, all right. Put the fear in them. Good as done. Boss, something I can do for you? There another settlement you want to help? All right. Just need the details. Croup Manor, Taffington Boathouse, Greentop Nursery, and the Slog. Again, I can't guarantee those'll all be available targets till I check my notes. But if they are, they're certainly a good place to start. Now you ready to make your decision? And with the place in as good shape as it is, I was thinking it might be time I set up shop there. Save you a trip anytime you want to run a job. You just let me know if that's something that'd interest you. Be good to make some trouble in the Commonwealth again. Now, depending on the state of the place when you hit it, this first outpost might already have some of the bare bones set up. All you've got to do is build up what's missing. If you want to run some jobs to convince more settlements to start sending supplies, well, you know how this works. You just come talk to me.